Hey, what's up, guys? Sean Fowler here, host of Speak Up Sports. Glad to be back. I know it has been a while, but we're back now, and that's what's important. A lot of changes, a lot of things been going on in the NFL. We're focusing on that today, and I say we're because I got a couple of close friends, some Atlanta Falcon fans. I believe our last episode I had them on as well. A friend of mine, Feroz, and also, as I like to call him, Wally G. I'm about to bring them in 1 second. But again, guys, we're talking Atlanta Falcons football. You see right there, rise up or stand down. This is coming after the latest defeat of the Atlanta Falcons, going to be by the Washington Commanders and another Falcons style type of way, I should say. And what I mean by that is because the Falcons is always a roller coaster. My dad always says the Cowboys are the best looking thing on TV. It's always drama. But I said the Falcons have been the same thing. We just play 1 o'clock. Nobody talks about our games unless you're a Falcon fan. So it's always good entertainment, but at the same time, when you're a Falcons fan, you want to win the Super Bowl and you're rooting for your team. It's always something that crazy that has to happen. Again, like I said, it's great entertainment in a way, but at the same time, Falcon fans, we just get tired of it, man. So, all that being said, we're going to talk Falcon football. I'm still always going to be a Falcons fan. So I'm always, I guess, going to rise up, you know what I mean, and stay down with my team, I should say, if you guys like how I said that. But all that being said, I'm about to go ahead and introduce my friend Feroz. How you doing, man? Good to see you.
Man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to have you in. Let me see if Walter's and Wally G. You ready, man? Can we see you? Okay, I think he's about to get ready. He's about to put his virtual back on, but that's cool. But all that being said, we're here. Feroz, once again, man, is another Falcons defeat. What are we, 5-7?
Yeah, 5-7 now.
5-7. We got 5 or 6 games to go, I should say. Still close to the division lead, shockingly. And I feel like we really don't deserve it. But, before I get too much into the Falcons itself, man, I just want to, or my point of view, I want to say first, it's great to see you, of course. And how do you feel, man, after that Sunday defeat? Like, what was going through your thoughts when that interception happened against the Commanders and we took another L? So how do you feel, man?
That game was so disappointing. I felt like just we didn't do what we needed to do. We could have won that game. We should have won that game, and we just didn't. I think that's just a combination of just bad play calling, and I think it's a combination of just Marcus Mariota not being the guy. And I said this previous streams, I think like week 5, I was calling for Marcus Mariota to be done,
You were.
And at that point, I was like, listen, I've seen enough of Marcus Mariota that he's just going back into his tendencies of what he did at Tennessee, where he would play very well for some games and then play very bad for other games. And that inconsistency is just not something you need anymore, especially when we're talking about interceptions in the red zone. Right? Interceptions as a whole is always bad, but when they're in the red zone and you have a chance to tie a game or win that game in that moment, you got to protect the ball. You got to be smarter with the ball. And Marcus Mariota, I will say, give him his props. He did a really good job when it came to tucking the ball and running and making plays that way. He did a really great decision-making on that. But when it came to actually like throwing the ball and making the completions and making the right decisions, it's still not there. He's lacking that sort of vision, I feel like. And it sucks because I obviously, getting Marcus Mariota and having him playing, I want him to be successful because that means our team's going to be successful. But
right,
we've all heard the comments from Coach Smith. He's not going to make a quarterback change. He's committed to Marcus Mariota this season. I understand it. That, Miami did it with Tua. They kept him out for a while, the whole year, and then they brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then eventually, after a while, halfway through the season, Tua came in. But you kind of saw how it happened with Tua, right? Tua was already on the chopping block this season because he didn't play that well last season.
Right.
Luckily, Tua's played really well this season. But the reason he's playing so well this season is because he has that game time now. He's getting to play in a game. Practice is great and all that stuff, but unless you're in the game, playing those real-time speeds, real-time movements, and making those decisions, you're not going to get better. And for me, that's why I want to see Desmond Ridder come in to get that experience now. So next season, when we're playing, we're not, ragging on Desmond Ridder his first year in and playing on a notoriously bad offense as of late. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It was a crappy loss. Like I said, like you said, it's been a roller coaster. There's been some games where it's like, hey, we're doing great, and then there's other games where it's just like, what are we doing? Where's the play?
Exactly.
Where's the heart in the team? So, like I said, it's just been a roller coaster. That game felt like a roller coaster. I will say I think we've done better than last season, which I am happy about. We're not as bad as last season. We're not getting these ginormous leads and blowing them. We're staying close in these games.
We're not, Feroz.
I don't think we're blowing giant leads. We're getting leads. We're not blowing all
of them. Okay.
I feel the games are closer this season. The games are closer this season. And you can see that I think defensively there's been a step up for sure.
I agree with that.
Offensively, without Calvin Ridley, you would expect Drake London to step into that role. He didn't do it. I mean, he's not playing bad, but he's not taking that role over that you would expect him to. Exactly. Obviously, losing Kyle Pitts in that game was terrible as well. But even the utilization of Kyle Pitts has been terrible. I mean, as a coach, when you have a tight end who is built like a wide receiver, you need to use him as such. I understand they want him to be a complete tight end and be able to do blocking, but my prime example of that would be Brock Bowers from UGA. Anybody who watches the Georgia Bulldogs, you see Brock Bowers, who's a highly touted tight end, and he's only a sophomore, I think. And he can do everything. If you want him to block, he's blocking, but also they utilize him more as a pass catcher.
Yeah.
If you ever have a chance, I know you don't watch Georgia games or college as much, but if you have a chance, just look up Brock Bowers highlights. That guy's amazing, but they utilize him correctly.
Exactly. Coaching.
Right. Yeah, coaching is a big thing. You have these tools, you have to utilize them correctly. We said this before. I said it before. I think if Coach Smith either doesn't win out with a winning record this season, I think we should let him go. Look elsewhere, or at least have a good discussion with him and say, hey, what you're doing right now isn't working. And
Hot seat. No, great takes, Feroz. So Wally G is here. I see him right here. So Wally G, but before I add you in, man, how do you feel about the Falcons, man? This past game, we talked about it last night on our Make a Play podcast as well. So when you saw that interception happen, when we saw the interception happen, what was going through your mind, man? I can't even talk right because I already know you about to go off. So, what was going through your mind, man? What are your thoughts on the Falcons so far?
I'm going to remain humble on the Speak Up podcast. Thank you so much, Sean, for having me on here. Froze, nice to see you again, my guy.
Good to see you.
We actually played this week in fantasy.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Well, first of all, now it's I'm kind of immune to Arthur Smith basically doing the plays which we think he's going to do, but he's not really going to do those plays. He's doing what he's doing off script, I guess. All right. So they may have three timeouts left, 58 seconds left on the clock. You run the ball the previous two plays. It was pretty good. So won't you stick to it? That's what I literally froze my soul. What happened? I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, and what is Arthur Smith's words at the press conference? It's unfortunate they made better plays than us. Arthur, I'm tired of that, man. We make better plays as well, man. Aren't you tired of losing, Arthur? But I feel like Arthur, he has his own mindset of, I was in Tennessee, I guess I rode the bus of Derrick Henry. I am the top offense coordinator in the league prior until now I'm the Falcons head coach. So whatever I say goes. That's not cutting it in Atlanta, and he will probably be out by the end of the year. If we have another losing record, I feel like he won't be here.
No, I hear you, man. And my thoughts on the game. First off, this is the third time I'm not tooting my horn and all, but I know my Falcons. I'm a diehard Falcons fan. I always will be. Wally G was there for the two cases that I told him in the Seattle game. I said, Wally G, bro, we're about to get an interception. He was like, Sean, we're not going to stop him. He was animated like he always is, which is good. And what happened the next play? Interception by the Falcons. We won the game. Then against Carolina, Wally G came over again like he normally does. I said, hey, bro, this game not over. This is 20 seconds left. I said, this game isn't over. Literally the next play, DJ Moore caught a touchdown. I said, I just want to get through this game. He was shocked. He almost had a heart attack. I'm glad we won the game because the Panthers choked, but it is what it is. On this game as well, I'm like, this is typical Falcons football. We need to get in the end zone. Wally G, you weren't here at the time. I said, we need to get in the end zone. This looks like a final score. I can see something dramatic happening. I'm trying to, not believe what I'm saying, but it's like the same time, I'm like, why are we in pistol? Why are we not just run the ball? I even said football. It's a football, fundamental football. I even said this too, guys, real quick before we go to our next topic. I said, and I was exaggerating, but I was like, I'll kneel the ball every play and then run on fourth down just so I can kill the clock. I was exaggerating. You want to score when you can score, but they had no timeouts when it was a second ago. If Mariota just takes a knee, at the worst case, it's 3rd and goal. And then now it's 4th and goal. Again, I want us to score, but I just feel like, and a lot of people say, as well, Corder Patterson was open. It was just a good play by the defender. But at the same time, I feel like with Arthur Smith, I agree with you guys. It's like when he needs to – I've seen this as well. When he needs to pass the ball, he runs it. When he needs to run the ball, he passes the ball. And to me, honestly, looking at this game, I don't blame Mariota for this game. I think he played a solid game. Yes, he only had, I believe, 174 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Obviously, that interception. I think he ran maybe for over 40, 50 yards possibly. But he, for the most part, he took care of the ball. Mm-hmm. And as well – I feel like Arthur Smith is leaning towards Mariota for the rest of the season because we're still in playoff contention. And it's like, because the Bucs are stinking too, it's like I feel like he's leaning towards Mariota because he coached Mariota back in Tennessee, right? He coached Mariota back in Tennessee. And, he probably has some type of relationship with him. And 2, it's, again, like I said, you're still in the playoff contention. Do you want to put this much pressure on Ridder right now and the season's not over? You might have a chance. Again, I'm sure he's practicing. He's learning the system. I don't know if he's working with the ones or not, but don't want to put him in this specific area where the pressure's on. There's 4 to 5 games left. Although at the same time, though, Froze, I understand where you're coming from because it's like, hey, we want to see what you got next year. But it seems like for the Falcons and Arthur Smith this year, even though I believe his job, he should be on the hot seat. Going into at least next season, they're not going to fire him this year because we could still possibly make the playoffs, even if we don't deserve it. But the point I'm trying to make is that. Mariota, he does need to continue to play better. I was okay with the signing Mariota because I didn't think he was a bust. I thought he has, he's talented. He can move. He can do this. He can make plays here and there, but it's about consistency. And he definitely is a bridge quarterback. And I'm gonna show some of the comments too, guys, because I want us to respond to some of these. But all that being said, for me, man, it was just another heartbreaking loss. And I'm gonna say this before I get it back to you guys, Rose and Wally G. Honestly, this is probably the most disturbing loss that we had for me this season. And I know we had the Chargers game. The guy, Eckler, fumbles the ball. He's running. He just fumbles. Pushed him out. But Eckler shouldn't have fumbled the ball in the beginning. We pretty much thought it was done if he fell down anyway. And again, Drake Leonard got stripped by Khalil Mack and went the other way. There's so many games we woulda, coulda, shoulda won the first game against New Orleans. But I say Washington because of the implications of it. This is a playoff game. Washington was 6-5, but 5-6. We beat Washington. As of today, we'll be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And of course, with the Falcons, how we could beat Washington, lose to Pittsburgh the next week. That better not happen. But I think it was so disturbing because the end zone is right there, and I believe again, they still could have won. Heineke making a crazy play like he did last year, but at the same time, it's like how close the Falcons were to winning a road game in that type of fashion, and you preach run the football so much, run the ball, and to lose it in that fashion. That hurt, man. It is tough being a fan, but I'm always going to rise up and stand down as you see with the as you guys see with the topic. So I know I said it a lot, guys, but that's where I'm at right now, man. I'm still a Falcons fan. Hopefully we can rebound. But, yeah, I got any other thoughts, Froze? I'm going to start with Froze first.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, man, it's one of those heartbreaking losses where, like you said, if you're trying to be a run team, be a run team. Caleb Huntley was doing well, Tyler Algier, all of our running backs were doing well as far as when they got their hands on the balls, they were making plays. The O-line seemed like they were doing their job, getting those holes. So in that moment, why wouldn't you run? You have an opportunity to punch it down the throat, just run it in. I agree with you guys. Marcus Mariota played well enough. But like I said, it's just the inconsistency between game to game that really bothers me. And like you said, he's a bridge quarterback. He's a good person to have there to hold it down until you find your next guy to step up. But the biggest reason, like I said, I want to see Desmond is, like I said, there's a great draft class of QBs coming out next season.
Sure.
And we see Desmond Ridder, and if he doesn't do well, and we see one of the comments right now says draft Stroud, and I'm with that. I think C.J. Stroud would be a great pickup. I think Bryce Young would be a great pickup. Mm-hmm. Those are all both mobile quarterbacks who will be played really well at their colleges, who have very high ceilings and very low floor, and not that low of a floor. So it's like you have an opportunity to draft these really good guys coming out of college that are well touted. And don't get me wrong, I watched a couple of Cincinnati games with Desmond Ridder there. He does very well, but the fact of the matter is, like, playing in the SEC is the closest you're going to get to playing in the NFL, right? So Desmond Ridder comes and plays Alabama, doesn't do well, which is to be expected when you're going against Alabama or any other SEC team. It's a different place. So, the only people who can really hang with SEC teams that are outside of it are Clemson and Ohio State and Michigan and some of those guys that can kind of hang there. And they don't always do that well. I mean, last time, look what happened with Michigan when Michigan played Georgia last season.
Woo!
You have these really talented quarterbacks coming in, and that's why I want to see Ritter, because it's, hey, do we commit to this rookie, or do we, hey, let's draft up, let's go trade some picks, let's go get us a Bryce Young, let's go get us an actual future. We got a wide receiver who I think will do better as he continues to play more. Drake London, I think, as he gets that experience, will play better. Once Kyle Pitts is healthy again, I think that as long as we start to utilize him properly, we'll see more of that production. Obviously, if you're playing fantasy football and you draft a Kyle Pitts, you're not very happy because that production hasn't been there.
Yeah.
But as overall, as how he played this season, he's played well. When they tell him to block, he makes his blocks. When they tell him to catch, he makes his catches. So it's going to come down to utilization. I agree with you, though. If he doesn't go positive this season, I don't think Coach Smith is going to get fired. I think Arthur Blank has a tendency to commit too hard to coaches. We saw that with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn probably should have been fired 2 seasons earlier than he was fired. So he does commit a lot. So it's one of those things where we're going to have to find out. If not this season, next season, if there's not an actual good improvement, then Arthur Smith should be fired. And if he's not, it's going to be a shame.
Well, you got any final thoughts on the Falcons as of right now?
I think Froze basically summed it up. We just got to play better ball, play better sound line football, both sides of the ball. Defense is, like I said, is playing pretty good, which I'm surprised. We know secondary is, it's okay. It's okay. The front seven, they've been, Renzo been getting back there a little bit, which I like. Malone and the guys rotating in and out. So yeah, defense line is pretty good. Really, the offense line is I think it's kind of a white horse underneath. They've been playing pretty good this year, besides by 1 or 2 games. But the offense line is blocking decently. I feel like Marcus Mariota's getting more and more comfortable in the pocket, which he should do, this year. After his, I guess, he was on the bench last year, but this year starting the quarterback about 5, 6, 7, 8 games until he's getting better and better and better. So yeah, basically I think we got a shot. So I'm not saying go to playoffs. I would love to be confident and say, yeah, I hope we do. But realistically, what's going on every other week. I can't really see that happen. But I can see us playing hard this week against Pittsburgh, because Pittsburgh just beat the Colts.
They did.
I'm sorry, Matt Ryan.
It's Matt Ryan.
That's your guy, right? But yeah,
so good, man. So good, man. So good.
So, it's new week. So I feel like honestly, if we lose this week, the morale's gonna go way down. It's already down. It's a little bit, but it's gonna go way down. Down.
Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, again, the Falcons. It's time for them to rise up and finish these games. This has been a slogan, and we can't blame Matt Ryan for the whole choking thing, because the Falcons are still finding ways to lose these games. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm just beating my Falcons and all that. Look, I love my Falcons always. I love football. I know what team is good, what team struggles. The Falcons are struggling. My confidence isn't that high in them, but at the same time, I mean, it is what it is. You got to take it a week at a time. It's still a little bit barely over a quarter of the season left. 5, 6 games left. Let's see what happens. Hey, the division stinks. We still have a chance. The fact that we could have been the division lead after winning that game, say something. And hopefully Tampa loses to New Orleans Monday night. I don't like either team. I really hate the Saints, though. I never really hated the Bucs until, I dislike them always. But Brady's there. We got to be Brady. But all that being said, we'll see next week. Going to my next topic, though, guys. I want to talk about, this. I was going to make an episode called You're the Underdog as well, because we see a lot of players that's really stepping up this year who kind of been underdogs. Like, you want to expect them to have this good of a season. So, what, Jay, I'm going to start with you first, man. Who's a player who kind of surprised you so far this year and has really been balling out that maybe a lot of casual fans or even diehard NFL fans didn't expect to have such a great season? So is there one player, that you got in mind, and who's that guy?
I would say the first player that's not on my mind is Russell Wilson.
Man.
Had to throw out there. Sorry, Russell.
Another day.
I would say surprisingly, George Pickens from Georgia. I feel like he's surprised because I didn't think he was gonna come out dominant for Pittsburgh, but he's the number one receiver. I mean, they traded
Pickens, yeah.
Like what? He was pretty good last year. Chase is good, but better. He's producing. He's out there dogging every way. He's bullying DBs. They don't even want to defend him. They don't even want to guard him.
Right.
Making Moss catches. Yeah. I also George Pickens is probably something.
I like that. It's definitely different.
I didn't know. Yeah. He really impressed me.
Is that the Feroz? Who's your guy, man? Who's your guy, Feroz?
So first off, George Pickens, I knew he was going to be a stud. He played at Georgia, was a stud at Georgia. So coming in, I was like, George Pickens is going to take control of that team. If the O-line was a little bit better and they give Kenny Pickett a little bit more time, George Pickens would have a lot more production. My guy is Jalen Hurts, just because of the progression he had this season. Last season, everybody was saying, Jalen Hurts, you don't have a good year this season, you're out. They're saying the same thing about Tua. They're saying the same thing about Jalen. So they're both on that same boat. Hey, you better have a good season. And he's proven everybody wrong. He came out here and he said, you know what? I hear you guys talking that crap. I'm going to play well. And he's come out here and play well. And you see the progression. He already has more touchdowns than he did last season. He's running better. He's making better decisions with the ball. Obviously, it helps when you got a stud receiver and A.J. Brown on your team now. So he's just making the right decisions. He's making good calls with running the football. So that's, for me, it's just his progression. If he, was playing like he did last season, he wouldn't even be in this conversation. But the fact that, he's playing, he's making it excitable. I mean, he's giving you kind of Michael Vick vibes, like he's playing with excitement. You get excited to watch Jalen Hurts play this season. He's not Michael Vick in himself, but Philadelphia fans want to watch Jalen Hurts because they see what he's doing. It sucks because Jalen Hurts beat us in the national championship a couple of years ago. So it sucks, but I've always liked Jalen Hurts out of Alabama when he was playing there, and went to Oklahoma, played well there. So he's always had that good potential there. I think that they've done a good job of building a team around him, and now we're seeing what happens when you make the right decisions with building a team around your quarterback and giving him these options. So I think Jalen Hurts. But for me, if we're talking about Falcons specifically, I would say Olamide Zaccheaus, just because of the fact that when we need someone to step up and make some clutch plays, he's making those clutch plays. Okay. Watching him make some of these catches that you don't really expect. I mean, to be honest, I see him as better than Russell Gage. He's kind of filling that role, but I see him playing better than Russell Gage did. So for me, it's Olamide Zaccheaus on the Falcons. I think he stepped up pretty well into that role, and I think he's going to have to step up even more now that Kyle Pitts is out, which I think he'll do.
No, awesome take, Froze. Awesome take, man. And yeah, Jalen Hurts is my guy. It's funny. I'm glad we talked off camera because I was going to say Jalen Hurts as well. I've been a big fan of Jalen Hurts ever since really he was playing Alabama. I just felt like, I just feel like he got some bad treatment. A lot of guys were saying, "Oh, he's a running back, this and that." You're in Alabama. Every quarterback, can look at Alabama, but he showed what he can do at Oklahoma. And I really became more of a fan when he got benched for Tua in that game. It's funny because I don't really care for Georgia or Alabama. I'm a Gators fan. If I had to pick, you know what I mean? But that game, we stink. Yeah, we do. But hey, all I'm going to say is that in that game, I was like, dang, Jalen got benched. I'm like, go Georgia. You know what I mean? At that time, and Calvin really ended up scoring and beating you guys. And Tua showed that, he can have a good year. And Tua, honestly, is an honorable mention as well, similar towards Jalen Hurts, I have rated Jalen Hurts a little bit better than Tua in the NFL before this season, but Tua's having a great season as well. You give him weapons, he can do some, twos. But I just wanted to say for Jalen Hurts, he does have 17 touchdowns as well, passing touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. That's tied for second, so far in the lead. Or I think 2 or 3 interceptions. He has over 500 rushing yards and 8 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that's amazing. And we saw on a little clip against Sunday night against the Green Bay Packers. What he can do, just breaking those long runs. So I definitely agree with Jalen Hurts, man. Just getting an opportunity to show what you can do. I didn't think he was awful last year, and we got to think. And this is my last thing. I know this is Fro's person, but I'm a big fan of Hurts. And we got to remember this is Hurts' second full season as a quarterback because he only played 4 games when he was a rookie. Last year was his first full season, so I really count that as his rookie year. And this is his second full season, so I think the sky's the limit. God willing, if he can stay healthy, which he seems like he can. And he'll be good. But this is my guy. This guy. They rolled me over, but I didn't write back. Y'all know who I'm talking about. And you know what? I'm a huge Russell Wilson fan, but I got to give it to Geno. Geno.
Okay, Geno.
Yeah. Geno. First game against the Denver Broncos. We see it there, man. Geno Smith is having a remarkable season. I believe he's in top 10 in passing yards, which is actually surprising. And I'll say this. I know it's like Sean doesn't write anybody off, but I never thought Geno was a complete scrub. Like he's awful. He shouldn't be in the league. I feel like with guys who had some type of success, he was okay in New York for the New York Jets, but people forget he played for the Giants as well. But it's like if Geno's a rhythm quarterback. He's a rhythm quarterback. If he gets moving and finding his receivers early, he can do something. If not, then he's going to be struggling. And he struggled a little bit last year. And Russ got hurt. With his finger injury. But he also showed that hey, I've been in the system for 5 to 6 years. I believe he's been there that long, and he understands the system. So we can't act like Geno's a rookie in Seattle. He practices with these guys, even if he probably mostly practiced with the ones and things like that. Geno Smith still has that potential. So for me, man, I'm saying Geno Smith. I'm proud of him. I respect guys who've been wrote off, as Geno like to say, but still trying to be at their best and still has the opportunity to show what they can do. I can relate towards that playing football, in my playing football a while back. So, I respect Geno, man, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect him to ball out like he's been doing. Now, I think they're 6-4, 6-5, something like that. So they still got times to go, and we'll put an L on Geno Smith record this year, but I definitely respect Geno, man, and hey, he's balling. He's playing better than Russell Wilson. Russ who?
I agree with you, man. Like you just said, Geno Atkins is playing the way that we expected Russell Wilson to play at the Broncos.
Geno Smith, Geno Smith.
Yeah, Geno Smith. Geno Smith is playing the way that you would expect Russell Wilson to play.
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I agree with you on that too. That honestly, that slipped my mind. I don't watch a lot of Seattle games, so
yeah.
But, it slipped my mind. But yeah, definitely. I've watched a couple of the games with him playing, and he's making good decisions. He's running the ball when he needs to run the ball. Yeah, it's kind of like when Ryan Tannehill took over at Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he sat down a little bit, and then just he got in his rhythm, and he's played well.
He played well, yeah.
So now you got and I think honestly, to be honest too, Kenneth Walker has been a great addition to that team too.
That's your guy. Both of y'all guys. I can't wait. Yeah.
He's been a great addition. In my mind, when I grabbed him in fantasy, I was like, I know Rashad Penny's going to get hurt. I'm going to go grab Kenneth
Wow,
Walker.
And it happened too.
And it's just it's unfortunate what happened to Chris Carson as well, just with the neck injury and
Chris Carson, yeah.
I wish he didn't have that neck injury and he could be still playing. So it sucks. I think Rashad Penny did a great job stepping into that role, but I knew that he's somewhat a little bit injury prone. So grabbing Kenneth Walker was a great addition. And I think for Geno, it's great to have a good running back too, which helps him, right? Anytime you have a mobile quarterback who has also a set of great running backs, it's just going to help you more because that's just another weapon that, you look at J.K. Dobbins when he's healthy with Lamar. You look at even Kenyon Drake when he's playing well because he's had a game where he plays super well. Mm-hmm. What that does for your mobile quarterback is amazing. So, the fact that Geno has all these great tools around him, DK, Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker, it's definitely played out to his success. I think, unfortunately, obviously that relationship with Russell Wilson and the Seahawks just fizzled out. It was time for them to move on and go somewhere else. But that's the kind of type of plays we were expecting out of Russell Wilson out of the Broncos.
No, most definitely. Why do you want to add some or you like the picks, man? I like George Pickens, so that was different. I didn't think about George Pickens, and again, I'm not a huge college football fan, but I did see the preseason one-handed catch, so definitely sparked my eye. Like, okay, Pittsburgh has a big receiver, you know what I mean? And yeah, it did seem like they were comfortable enough and trusting him and letting go chase Claypool. So George Pickens, I like that. I like that pick. No pun intended. But other than that, guys, my last question: Why did you want it? Because he's not doing too well in fantasy. But I want to see. It's funny. It's funny when I came up with this question. I didn't know. I didn't know you guys were facing each other in fantasy. You know what I mean? And it's funny because me and Froze are 6-6. I call my way back into the fantasy playoffs. I'm still the 7th seed. I faced my dad this week. It was also 6-6. So all that being said, man, What's the thoughts on this fantasy season for y'all, and who's going to win? It's really perfect timing. So I'm starting with you first, Wally G. What's going on with fantasy, man? Because you got Mahomes, y'all made trades. So what's going on, man?
They're a good team, man. I feel my team is probably I would say top 3 in the fantasy. Just that some games are iffy and up and down. That's what I think. It's just up and down because Mahomes also get points. I have 2 good defenses. I mean, I have some good, some decent receivers, whatever. Brown and I got Njoku. If Njoku could play well like he did last week, I probably can do something.
That's true. Wally G, real quick.
Yeah.
For the fans out there that still watching, I'm reading out both of y'all rosters. Wally G, you had Patrick Mahomes, Leonard Fournette, Aaron Jones, AJ Brown, Brandon Ayuk, David Njoku, Miles Sanders who had a big game. Let's just say you got Koo, the Ravens defense starting. I'm not gonna read your bench: Patterson, Boyd, DJ Moore, so and so on. Okay, so what's going on, man? You 4-8. I don't care if I put you on. It's just fantasy, you know what I mean? In this one league. So what were you talking about, bro? I want to read out the rosters so the folks can understand who's his team. So yeah, I just want to read out the roster, man. So you got AJ Brown from Feroz. Yeah. I didn't like that trade because I wanted to get Jalen Hurts, but it is what it is.
You would beg me for Jalen Hurts.
I was begging, man. I was like, do not listen to Feroz. Do not listen to him. That's an awful trade. But it's not an awful trade. Well, I forgot what I said, but I was trying to get Hurts. So yeah. but nah, man. I didn't mean to interrupt your whole thing, man. But yeah, I mean, you compete. I think Mahomes for you, Wally G, he's always a given. It's funny. I think you drafted right after me. And I was like, yeah, right. And I saw Mahomes available, but for me, I'm too much of a fan. It's like, that'd be too easy to get Mahomes. I know that sounds stupid, especially playing for money. But I was like, you know what? I forgot who I drafted instead of Mahomes because I don't think it was your first pick. But I know I ended up getting Russ, and that blew up my season. I got so many Broncos players, and that messed up my season. But Feroz, I'm going to go to you, man. You got Hurts. You got Barkley, Kenneth Walker. Jalen Waddle was a huge pickup. You got Wilson, the Steelers tight end, ETN, Jake Elliott, and the Vikings defense. You got Tua. You're stacked, Feroz. So what's up this week, man? Hopefully I'm not messing up your strategy by telling why you what you got.
I mean, this week's been last week I would have won if Travis Etienne didn't get hurt. Would have won that one. It was a close game, but I forgot who I was playing. It was a close one. But yeah, man. I mean, when we drafted, man, there was a lot of good picks on the board. There's a lot of sleepers that I thought you guys were missing out on, and I picked them up. I did my research like I do for the season. I'm in 3 leagues, so I have to
okay.
Hard. I got to make sure 3 leagues is hard because maybe I have Jalen Waddle, but I'm also playing Jalen Waddle on a different
exactly.
It tends to be a pain in the butt. But yeah, man. I mean, I had Cooper Kupp too.
That's what it was. You were killing Cooper Kupp.
I was so happy to trade away AJ Brown because I still had Waddle and Kupp, and I was like, yeah, you can have AJ Brown. That's fine.
True.
Him getting injured really messed it up. Even though the Rams weren't doing well, Cooper Kupp was doing well.
Exactly.
So now obviously I got Jalen Waddle. I got a couple other guys. Just picked up Jerry Jeudy just to see what happens with him if he gets better.
Don't do it. I had Jerry Jeudy. Don't do it.
Yeah, I got some people on my IR spots that are kind of sitting there for a little bit, seeing what happens with those guys. But yeah, man, this week and this game is going to be important. Obviously, I'm 6-6. I'm tied with a lot of people, so I need Wally. I got to be.
You got to be Wally G. Go Wally G. I need you to win.
Got to be Wally G.
I'm iffy though because Fournette and Aaron Jones might play it iffy right now. They're questionable.
Yeah. So I'm constantly throughout the day at work. I'm constantly having to go through and
I know, bro.
Who's hurt? Who's not hurt? Trying to figure it out. Stuff like that. So,
yeah.
It's crazy.
The only good thing is like you said, I made sure to stack up my bench. When you look at my bench, it's like I can sub in any of those guys, and they're probably gonna. I mean, Garrett Wilson has been going off. And
no, that's true. That's true. He had a good game too. That's probably why you playing him like, dang, Feroz messed up.
I benched him, and I was like, the only reason I benched him was because I thought Zach Wilson was doing terrible, and then I forgot that Mike White was starting, and I was like, I should.
Who would have guessed that though? I mean, it's like
that's true.
Who would have guessed that? But no, man. I just it's what it's about though. My bad. I'm looking at my roster too, but I just appreciate y'all playing, man. I'm glad y'all still interested in it. And this is actually probably the best season I had. I know Feroz, this might be your second year with me. This was my first year.
My first year with you guys. dead last, man.
Yeah, exactly.
I got injury plagued last season.
Oh yeah, you did. You did.
Season my other two leagues. It's been a pain in the butt with injuries with me. I don't know what it is. Every time I draft players, it sucks. But
no, most definitely, man. But hey, you got a quarterback this year because last year you didn't have a quarterback. Try to tell you for those like y'all drafted a quarterback.
That's so weird. You guys draft quarterbacks so early. Like there's certain quarterbacks that I understand. Your Holmes and your Allens, but then there's some guys you pick up way too early, and
I don't know.
And that's all I needed. All I had to do was stream a better quarterback. In all fairness, I expected Matt Ryan to do a lot better this season.
Oh yeah, man. I started Matt. I'm gonna go through my roster real quick, guys. But I started Matt one game because that's been my Achilles heel as a quarterback. Russell Wilson has been awful. I'm a big fan of Russ. I thought with him going to Denver, obviously, he's always been consistent. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the last 6-7 years. You know what I mean? So like I usually get Russ. I had Josh Allen last year. I made the championship. I had a lot of the Bills players. My strategy is I try to get double points. I try to do with their quarterback. Josh Allen's perfect. You got Stephon Diggs, Dawson Knox, like I had him last year. I was killing and the Bills kicker. So if the Bills go up, I'm gonna win. That's how I made the chip. Lost to my cousin. We got to get him. King 50, whatever it is, my cousin name. He ain't winning for the fourth time. We got to get him out the way. But my roster, Justin Fields. I got him a few weeks ago. He was balling out. He was saving my season. Now he's hurt. But Derek Carr, I got Derek Carr. He had a good game last week against Seattle. Zeke has been busting it up, getting touchdowns, not as many rushing yards. Nick Chubb is over reliable. I always get Nick Chubb. I can't let him go. Justin Jefferson, never, man. Like those two are my studs. Like I understand the trades and stuff, but like I have to have them. Like they're my guys. Tight end has been tough because I had Darren Waller in the beginning of the year. He's been hurt the whole time. I tried to play for Rose. I ain't gonna lie. I was trying to get a player from Rose, trying to shake him a little bit, but
he didn't bite. I watched Darren Waller last season. He did not do well last season either.
He was my guy. I let him go like 4 weeks ago. He was trash. He no points.
I got Devontae Smith. He's been up and down. AJ Brown still his targets, but he's been getting the ball a bit more. I got Maher, the Cowboys kicker. Froze let him go a couple weeks ago. I picked him up. He got me 22 points the next week against Wally G, and I won. 49ers defense, they've been clutch, and that's so on and so forth. Christian Watson also from Green Bay's helped out. I benched him this past week, but I don't know. I might play him. So I'm 6-6. I'm right in the midst of it. You know, it's definitely fun. That's exactly why I'm glad you guys are having fun, man, because that's especially when money's involved. It's definitely a little bit more fun. You know what I mean? YG, you know, make sure you got that 20 saved for February. That's all I'm gonna say, or January. You know, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. No.
Trade, just he's gonna come back and
Deshaun Watson. That's my last question, guys. What do y'all expect from Deshaun Watson this week?
I mean, listen, Jacoby Brissett's been a fun quarterback to watch. I'm not gonna lie. He's had his games where he's been pretty fun to watch. Deshaun Watson, though, he's got to come out here and make a statement. He's obviously going against his old team, the Texans. He's got to come out here and play a good game. Ooh. You come out here and you don't play a good game. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll be thankful if he doesn't play a good game, and thankful that the Falcons didn't waste a lot of money on him, because that was a lot of guaranteed money for a quarterback who's been out for games, and he's getting it anyway. So he's got to come out there and he's got to play well. I mean, he's played well with the Texans even without good weapons. They traded away D-Hop a while ago and he had to play without him. Now you got an opportunity. You got Amari Cooper. You got a really good dual threat running back. You got Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You have the tools to be successful. You have David Njoku. You got all these stud players on your team. You just got to make it work. So it'll be interesting. I expect him to play well. I think he's going to play well. I think he's going to come into the mindset with having a revenge game, and I think he's going to play well.
Wally G, what you got, man? DW fold.
DW fold back. He's going to play well. I mean, he's going against his own team that basically ratted him out and shipped him away. He has so much, I guess, history in Houston, so why not show out? You know what I'm saying? Everybody know who you are. You are Deshaun Watson. You are the guy that everybody wanted in this offseason. Make a play. So it's his time. It's his time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think Deshaun Watson. I can see him being rusty. I might see 170, a touchdown. It's going to be a turnover somewhere. It's going to be a weird turnover. I could believe, but I think I think ultimately they'll get the win, maybe 27-10. I don't expect him to go 400 yards. Deshaun Watson, you know what I mean? But 170 yards, maybe a touchdown. a turnover or something, but really focus on Nick Chubb and them, those guys. Hopefully Nick Chubb, please ball out for me. I need the points again. But yeah, I think Deshaun Watson is, as a fan, it's good to see him back, man. You got to think coming into the season, the Browns were contenders. Deshaun Watson on the Browns with all those weapons. And again, as a fan, a Falcons fan, we were close. I heard the Saints were close too. So at first I was like, I understand the off the field stuff, but like, I know how it is sometimes when football starts, people kind of forget until it's brought back up because we want to talk about Deshaun Watson. So Deshaun Watson, if Atlanta got him, I'm done. I'm fine with it. But he's in Cleveland, he's up north, so it is what it is. But it's definitely gonna be exciting to see. And just with that division period, the Steelers stink. Hopefully we beat them. But the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, they got beat against Trevor Lawrence and Jaguars this past weekend. Joe Burrow's looking like the Super Bowl contender again. They're starting to heat up as well. You got to watch out for them. And you put Deshaun Watson in that mix. It's just going to make things more interesting. It's making the AFC North look like what the West should have been, because everybody's talking about Russ and the Raiders, Devontae Adams, the Chargers. They're winning games now. And obviously Chiefs and Mahomes. So the AFC North is starting to spark up again. So, so we'll see. But all that being said, guys, I appreciate Ferozi coming on again. Wally G, have a blessed night, guys, and hopefully we can do this again soon with both you two. You know what? I'm gonna try to say, and I know it's a crazy month coming up. We try to get one more before Christmas. How about that? Before Christmas, maybe at least next week or maybe the week after that. So we'll see. But appreciate you guys coming on, and have a blessed day.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Cool. My mouse is stuck. All right, guys, signing off.